You have to be ready. I'm gonna wrestling with him all night, make him tired and make him tap. This is my plan.
Khabib Nurmagomedov is undoubtedly one of the UFC's biggest stars. As the current lightweight champion, his accomplishments both inside and outside of the UFC are truly something to be respected. Now, with Khabib looking to make his second title defense in a much anticipated return for UFC 242, we'll be taking a look at some of the most interesting and fascinating facts about Khabib Nurmagomedov. As always, if you guys enjoy this video, then please be sure to let me know by leaving a like and subscribing to our channel. Now, without further ado, let's take a look at 20 facts about Khabib Nurmagomedov. Number 20. He is undefeated in his professional career. A large part of Khabib's appeal is the fact that he is undefeated as a mixed martial artist. Since becoming a professional fighter, Khabib has fought and won all of his 27 fights. Out of those 27 wins, 8 of those have ended by knockout, 9 by submission and 10 by decision. Khabib first began his professional MMA career in 2008 at the age of 20. Between 2008 and 2011, he fought 16 fights across Russia and Ukraine and won them all. His skills caught the attention of the UFC, who proceeded to offer him a 6-fight contract. Khabib happily accepted and went on to make his UFC debut in January of 2012. From there, he went on to win 9 straight fights before becoming the new lightweight champion in his 10th UFC appearance. Since then, he has defended his title once against, you guessed it, Conor McGregor. Number 19. He's wrestled a bear. Yes, you heard that right. Whilst this would normally sound like something too bizarre to be true, there was in fact a time where Khabib actually wrestled a bear. Following his 9th birthday, Khabib's father designed a test for him, leading him out towards the edge of a forest where nearby a bear cub was chained up waiting for him. He was then ordered by his father to wrestle the bear, which Khabib did so without question. Remarkably, the video of the entire event didn't even surface until 17 years later, but it was truly a sight to behold. Number 18. He is deeply religious.
I want to say thank you for God. God is number one. Other things is nothing. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
One thing to note about Khabib is that he is a deeply religious fighter. As a devout Muslim, Khabib takes his religion very seriously and always puts his religion first before anything else, including fighting. Due to religious obligations, he never fights during the holy month of Ramadan and also never drinks alcohol. He is also the first Muslim champion in UFC history and as such has thousands of Muslim supporters. Number 17. He is Russia's most popular fighter.
Hey guys, Irish only 6 million, Russian 150 million.
It's no surprise that Khabib is a massive star, but some may not realise just how big of a star he actually is. In Russia, Khabib is considered a national hero for his athletic accomplishments and has shown unconditional support for his Russian fan base. In fact, Khabib was recently just named Russia's most successful athlete, in the process pulling in an estimated net worth of nearly $12 million. He also has a massive following on social media, with over 15 million followers on his Instagram alone. Number 16. He is a well-decorated athlete. As someone who began practicing freestyle wrestling at the age of 6, Khabib is one of the best judo and sambo specialists to come out of his hometown of Dagestan. Under the teachings of his father, who was a former sambo champion himself, Khabib was able to develop and hone his skills in combat. Growing up surrounded by athletes, Khabib excelled in training, and it paid off in competition. According to his father, the techniques he learned growing up played a pivotal role in Khabib's success. Apart from being a UFC champion, Khabib has won 3 gold medals in Sambo and won 2 grappling tournaments in North America. Number 15. He holds the record for the most takedowns in a single fight. Khabib is world class when it comes to his ability to take his opponents down, much of which can be credited to his successful Sambo and Judo background. In fact, he is so good at it, he actually set a record at UFC 160 for the most takedowns in a single fight. During his fight with Abel Trujillo, Khabib actually managed to take him down an astounding 21 times. Needless to say, he walked away with the victory. Number 14. he became a father on the day of his fight. His fight at UFC 219 was not only a big moment in his UFC career, but also in his personal life. Just hours before earning a dominant win over top lightweight Edson Barboza, it was reported that Khabib had also become a father, with the birth of his first son. Needless to say, it was a successful night for Khabib, not only for the birth of his child, but also for earning his 25th victory in a row, in turn earning him a Performance of the Year award. As for whether or not he regretted missing the birth of his child, Khabib had this to say.
Did you feel bad? Did you feel sad that you missed it?
Why I need to be there?
I don't know, support your wife, be there, hold her hand, I don't know.
We have different mentality.
Number 13. He was involved in a massive brawl at UFC 229. Following his win at UFC 229, Khabib became involved in one of the most infamous brawls in UFC history. Immediately after his submission victory over Conor McGregor, Khabib vaulted over the side of the cage to attack Conor's teammate, Dylan Dennis. From there, mayhem ensued, and a scuffle broke out between members of Khabib and Conor's team, with McGregor himself even becoming involved, as footage showed Conor fighting with multiple members of Khabib's corner. 3 of Khabib's teammates were arrested as a result. When asked about the incident, Khabib responded by saying this.
First of all, I want to say sorry to Athletic Commission, Nevada, sorry to Vegas. I don't understand how people can talk about I jump on the cage, you know. What about he talk about my religion, he talk about my country, he talk about my father. He come to Brooklyn and he broke bus, he almost killed couple people. What about this?
As a result, he received a suspension and was fined $500,000. To this day, it remains one of the biggest and most bizarre incidents in UFC history. Number 12. He wears a traditional headpiece. Before every UFC fight, Khabib can be seen wearing a distinctive piece of headgear. While many have mistaken it for a wig, it is actually a traditional headpiece from Khabib's hometown of Dagestan, and is made out of sheepskin and wool. It has been worn by mountaineers and warriors that once resided in the mountains of Dagestan, and is a symbol of honor and heritage. It was also at one point introduced as part of the Russian army uniform, and is still used to this day. It is an important piece of clothing with deep-rooted history and cultural significance, so he brings it with him every time he fights. Number 11. His walkout song is about his motherland. For those of you who have watched Khabib make his walkout to the octagon, you'll know that he normally walks out to a particular song. The song he walks out to is called Dagestan, which shares the name with his home region. Although he's never explicitly stated the reason for choosing this song, it's likely to pay tribute to the area he grew up in. So, in a way, Khabib takes a piece of home with him every time he steps into the cage. Interestingly enough, if you actually take a look at the original music video, it gives some detailed insight into both the cultural and landscape of his home. So, if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth taking a look at. Number 10. He's had some serious weight issues in the past. So far, Khabib has only missed weight once in his professional MMA career, coming in 3.5 pounds heavy at UFC 160. However, that hasn't been without several close calls. Over the years, Khabib has been known for having some brutal weight cuts. In fact, one such incident forced him out of a highly anticipated matchup with Tony Ferguson, after Khabib was hospitalized due to serious weight cutting complications. Although it remains unclear on exactly what happened, Khabib later revealed that he felt close to death during his weight cut.
I feel like so bad, you know, I never feel like this. But I feel like I almost died.
Fortunately though, he's been able to keep his weight cutting issues under control and hasn't had any problems ever since. Number 9. He has the highest striking differential in the lightweight division. For those of you who don't know, a striking differential is a number that reflects how many strikes a fighter throws in comparison to how many they absorb from their opponents. For example, if you throw 10 strikes and your opponent throws 5, you have a striking differential of 2. This stat is a way to demonstrate a striker's overall effectiveness. In Khabib's case, he currently holds the highest striking differential in the division with 2.26, with Dustin Poirier coming in at second with 2.08. So, statistically speaking, Khabib has dominated his opponents in terms of striking. Number 8. He almost retired after a 2-year layoff. If there's one thing Khabib has been criticised for in the past, it's his lack of frequency when it comes to fighting. In fact, there was one point between 2014 and 2016 where he was sidelined for 2 whole years due to career-threatening injuries he suffered during training. The first was a knee injury following his win over Rafael dos Anjos, which forced him to sit on the sidelines. After completing rehab, Khabib suffered a second knee injury that forced him out of UFC 187. Following his second knee injury, Khabib suffered a broken rib in training, forcing him to be removed from his fight with Tony Ferguson in 2015. The 3 consecutive setbacks caused Khabib to actually consider retiring from MMA altogether. Luckily, he returned to action in 2016 and hasn't looked back since. Number 7. He had a rough childhood. As if fighting bears wasn't hard enough, it's clear that Khabib didn't exactly have a normal childhood. Growing up in Russia, Khabib was exposed to extremely harsh conditions, both geographically as well as politically. Born in the cold mountains of Dagestan, Khabib was forced to battle the harsh climate on a daily basis. The area in which he grew up also suffered from extreme poverty and had fallen victim to several terrorist attacks, meaning his early upbringing was quite challenging. Luckily, he had wrestling and martial arts as an outlet to escape the difficult conditions surrounding him, and spent the majority of his time training. Number 6. He is the number 2 pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. As the current champion of the lightweight division, Khabib is also ranked as the number 2 pound-for-pound fighter on the planet, sitting only behind light heavyweight champion John Jones. While there's no doubt he's an incredibly accomplished athlete and fighter, his placement in the ranking is a bit surprising, especially when you consider he's ranked above both Henry Cejudo and Amanda Nunes, both of which are 2 division champions. Nevertheless, he is undoubtedly a phenomenal fighter, who has worked hard to earn his place at the top of the rankings. Now, the only question that remains is, can he achieve his goal of becoming the number 1 fighter on the planet? Number 5. He has the second most takedowns landed among current lightweights. Being one of the most gifted takedown artists on the UFC's roster, you can always expect Khabib to have an advantage when it comes to wrestling. Averaging around 5 takedowns per fight, Khabib ranks number 2 in the total number of takedowns landed in the lightweight division, coming in at 50. But with any luck, Khabib will likely surpass that number once he faces off against Dustin Poirier at UFC 242. Number 4. He is nicknamed the Eagle for a reason. Khabib is often referred to as the Eagle, but have you ever wondered exactly how he developed this nickname? And no, it's not because of this. According to Khabib, the Eagle is actually a symbol of the Dagestan Republic, where he was born and raised. So his nickname is representative of his homeland and its people, and is meant to signify national pride. Although nowadays, I'm sure most people refer to him as the Eagle for another reason. Number 3. He holds the UFC pay-per-view record. Much of Khabib's fame can largely be attributed to his fight at UFC 229 in October of 2018. The event featured the highly anticipated return of Conor McGregor, facing off against Khabib Nurmagomedov in the main event for the lightweight title, with a great deal of animosity between the two, much of which coming from that infamous bus incident which saw Conor McGregor throw a dolly through a bus that Khabib was on. With that, the anticipation to see them fight was through the roof. It was promoted as the biggest fight in the company's history, and for good reason. When it was all said and done, the event smashed all previous pay-per-view records. The total number of buys was estimated to be around 2.4 million, easily beating the previous record which was set at 1.5 million buys, with that one also featuring Conor McGregor as he took on Nate Diaz. And when you open it up to a wider spectrum, Khabib vs McGregor was the 4th highest selling pay-per-view event in combat sports history. Number 2. He has the second longest winning streak in lightweight history. Competing in one of the UFC's most stacked and competitive weight classes, Khabib currently holds the record for the second longest winning streak in the lightweight division. So far, Khabib has managed to string together 11 consecutive wins inside the UFC. The only person ahead of him is the former interim lightweight champion Tony Ferguson.
This is number one bullshit.
But should Khabib get past Dustin Poirier at UFC 242, it's likely he will attempt to end Tony's winning streak and continue to extend his own. Now, hopefully, after much trial and error, that matchup can finally become a reality. Number 1. He is the first Russian to win a UFC title. Early on in Khabib's UFC career, he looked destined to become a UFC champion. The Russian native stunned viewers with his elite level of grappling and his relentless pace. So, once he earned his opportunity to fight for a world title, he exceeded on all expectations. Despite Tony Ferguson, his original opponent, pulling out from the fight due to injury, Khabib went on to dominate his short-notice replacement, in turn becoming the new, undisputed lightweight champion, as well as the first Russian to hold UFC gold. So, not only has he established himself as an elite fighter, but he's also regarded as a hero among the Russian public. Well, that concludes our list of 20 facts about Khabib Nurmagomedov. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, then please be sure to let me know by leaving a like and subscribing to our channel. Apart from that, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.
Never have a doubt, do you like me now? Am I good enough now? Should I get more loud? Till you hear the fucking sound? Oh no, I'm losing my shit again, having to fit again. Man, I'm forgetting when I used to have some friends. I used to play pretend, we all grow up and then hating my phone and trends. I'm about to blow my head, nobody knows I'm dead. Fear I'm a ghost instead, think that I'm close, I get straight comatose in bed. Try to go slow with breath, breathe out my nose and head. Heart doesn't go the trend, faster it goes.